Hello, it's been a while, and many things have happened since the last upload. For one, I finished birthing my thesis, and I've also finished my grind to get my Summon and Necromancer on Diablo 2 to level 95. But I digress, as I am not one to gabble around the proverbial gobble. I'll cut to the point. Now, if you are not familiar with the term auto chess, the last minute or so of this video would have been very confusing. Alas, I am the pariah of information, so let me educate you on what this cartoon looking game is about. So, Teamfight Tactics, or TFT, starts out like this. Everyone is put into this carousel round where you try grab a unit with a specific item component on it. I'll get to how items work later on. Units in this game mode have different costs and also different traits. Initially, for the first few rounds of TFT, you can only find 1 and 2 cost units from the shop at the bottom of the screen. The shop itself is very simple. At the end of each round, it is refreshed once and restocks with random units. If what you see doesn't tickle your fancy, you are also able to spend some gamer dough to re-roll the shop. As the game progresses to higher rounds, the shop begins to fill with more high-cost units, and concurrently, the amount of low-cost units begins to diminish. So, for example, if you are in round 9, trying to find a 1-cost unit would be much harder than if you were rolling on round 1. As you may have seen, after you have purchased your desired units, you simply put them on your board, whereafter they automatically fight, hence the auto part of the name. The chess part of the name comes from the fact that you can position your units on the board in a tactical manner, allowing yourself to gain an advantage on the opponent. Now this latter statement, I must admit, I have neither researched nor have compelling evidence to support, thus cannot deny nor confirm its validity. So, take it for what it is. Anyhow, the subjective goal of the game is to build as strong of a team as possible to beat the other 7 random players you are facing. One way to do this is by collecting units with the same traits. When enough of these units sharing the same trait are on your board at one time, a trait-specific buff will activate. For example, Garen and Graves share the Academia trait. If both are on the board at the same time, the Academia buff activates, granting bonus attack damage and ability power, which is amplified each time an ally casts an ability. Now, this is a brief view of all the possible traits to activate. All traits are equal, but some are more equal than others. Good on you if you understood that reference. For those that did not, that statement is absolutely garbage, and as some traits, in my humble opinion, are downright scams, but you will see my woes shortly. Now, for all the people out there who play the game,
yes, I know that there are terms to cover such as econing, locking the shop, how damage is calculated per loss, and yada 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 yada, but
I am not here to give you a full rundown of the game. I'm here to show you how rundown I am after playing the game for over a week now. A bit more backstory. Me and a few friends decided to play on the test server before this patch went live, a boot camp so to speak. We were very keen on climbing this season, and honestly, this season so far has been pretty fun. Now, as you have seen before, there is a whole plethora array of traits to go for and potential team comps to build. However, it was during boot camp that I developed what would become a crippling obsession with one certain team. The Yordles.
It's smaller than the diagram.
Now, I don't have footage of what happened during our time on the test server, but it essentially boiled down to me trying to force one team comp the entire time. Was it a good team comp? Circumstantially, I would have to say yes, since as of making this video, the highest rated person had used Yordles to climb to rank 1. In a stark contrast, I, at 50 games, was hard stuck in mid-blue rank. Oh yes, ranks. Probably should explain that too. Ranks in Hyper-roll are very simple. Everyone begins in grey rank, whereafter there are 4 other tiers being green, blue, purple, and finally the oh-so-coveted Hyper rank. The way you gain points or ELO, or MMR, is by placing top 4 amongst the 8 players in the game. Sounds easy, right? So the rank thresholds work like so. From grey to green tier is 1400 points. To get to blue tier, you need 2600 points. To get to purple tier, you need 3400 points. And finally, to get to hyper tier, you need 4200 points. It should be noted that if you do place in the last 4 players in the game, you will lose points. Depending on where you place, you will lose more points. For example, placing 8th can net you a fat 80 point loss, whereas placing 5th will only be a light sack tap of 20 points lost. But the caveat is that if you are the highest ranked person in the lobby, or one of the higher ranks, and you so happen to place in the bottom 4, you will lose substantially more points. Don't worry, you'll see prime evidence of this soon. Anyhow, back on track from that tangent. If you question why I was trying to force a single team comp the wrong way, you must understand that when it comes to Hyper-roll,
I am an absolute degenerate.
You see, I derive pleasure from finding the stupidest ways to climb. Instead of opting for streamline efficiency and actually learning the game, I usually just pick out a comp that I like building and keep forcing it until I win. Also, I tend to slam items randomly until I am told by someone more knowledgeable as to which one is actually best for which unit. This intro has gone on long enough though, so I'm definitely not going to dive into how items work, as I mentioned before. Instead, I'll plaster up this picture which shows item combinations and let those of you who are enthusiasts to do the research. Now, roll the clips. As soon as the update landed, I hopped on to start grinding. Initially, all was going well. My yodel comp was working superbly.
Your Vex.
My Vex is... Okay.
And your Trist.
Yeah, my Vex and Trist is just disgusting.
Hey, the boys!
The
It's the boys!
Hello, Kev.
Okay,
Yeah,
my comp is online.
Your comp is online?
Go.
I think my comp's pretty online too.
Oh god, you can do it. You can do it. No, you can't.
Oh, if I can.
Wait, I have perfect synergies right now.
Yeah.
No, you don't have perfect synergies. You just have too many synergies.
Oh, really? Oh. Or is the Yumi diff? Oh my!
Ooh.
But then
Oh no, I can't fucking kill it. Yeah, I can't fucking kill this frontline.
Now, there are many clips that basically went the same, because I kept forcing the same comp, though I'll just show one example of how essentially the first 20 or so games went. So in this game, we start by yoinking a rod component, and after the first minion wave, begin rolling for yordles. When augment selection comes around, yes, augment selection. So I did also forget to mention this. In the latest season of TFT, once every few rounds, players get to choose up to 3 augments that last with them for the entire game. And that's basically all the explanation I can be bothered giving. Anyhow, when augment selection came around, I take anything that might be of benefit to my yordles, either increasing their damage or survivability. Once I get my 3 yordles on the board, the trait activates, which grants me 2 random yordles at the end of each PvP round. Now, I should explain how upgrading units work. All units start off as 1-star units. To upgrade them to 2-star units, you need 3 1-star versions of them. Then, to upgrade them into 3-star versions, you need 3 2-star versions of them. And this is why I like forcing yordles, because once you get the ball rolling, the game just shits you out unit after unit, and the amount of dopamine from seeing units combine is what keeps me going through these otherwise AIDS experiences. Now, you may notice that I am currently sitting on the bottom of the lobby. This is an experience I am all too familiar with, and what I call my
comfort zone.
You see, yordles early on by themselves are absolutely garbage and weak in most situations, so we're gonna take a few L's. However, if you are so lucky enough to hit the right items, your persistence will be rewarded once all the cogs are in place, because at that point in time, instead of yourself going through the cancer experience, you begin dishing out the cancer to everyone else in the lobby. Take a look at this. Right now, I am dead last with 8 health to my name at round 6-3. But, in a mere few rounds, I ascend to absolute godhood. I first make quick work of Arm Spaghetti, who clearly didn't understand that spaghetti arms aren't cut out for this game mode. I then proceed to send Seymour Skinner back to Springfield Elementary, where he should have kept on teaching math, but fear not, he learnt how to subtract numbers as I rinsed him for 4 health. Next on the chopping block was Peter Hitchener. Previously in this game, he was the one who had come to report on my demise, but now, with my Heimerdinger juiced to the absolute gills, I sent him right back to 9 years. Mango OCE also stood no match for my overwhelming Yordle comp as I showed him my mangoes. And no, we aren't talking about the fruit here. And then, bada bing, bada boom, we hit first place. However, those glory days soon dried up after hitting blue rank. The problem with grinding so much on day 1 is that you're inevitably playing with all the other grinders and sweaty tryhards who are also trying to climb to hyper as fast as possible. In fact, the player base got so limited sometimes that the elo gap was insane, and queue times were getting longer and longer because there was only about 50 people within our blue to purple elo range playing at that given time. Around about this point, my luck with the Yordle comp had also come to a grinding halt. Instead of consistent top 4 finishes, I began consistently finish bottom 4, being in a never-ending cycle of gaining points, only to lose them the next game. The peak rock bottom of all this came when I finished 8th 4 times in a row, then 7th on my 5th game. Now yes, I am aware those screenshots are not my own. That is because in my absolute rock bottom sadness, I forgot to take any screenshots of my match history, so you get the point. After this incident, my mental was shot to say the least. So in my delirium, I said to myself, screw it, and decided to finish missions for Mission XP, which unlocks rewards in the TFT pass. A quick explanation as to what these are: basically you get given certain objectives to play in a game. For instance, one objective could be to play Academy trait, and if you board let's say 6 academies, you are rewarded with XP that goes towards unlocking items. This in fact turned out to be a good coping mechanism, as I was still granted some dopamine points whilst literally not advancing my ranking in any way, shape or form. So, during the dark ages of the TFT grind, I basically sat around 2.8k points for the longest time, and truth be told, the only thing that made me want to climb again was the fact that the bonus mission XP quests had all run out. Thus, I rubbed my temples and contemplated what I was going to do. The Yordle comp had given me brain rot, so it was time to experiment with other combinations of traits. The first of these kerfuffles was with the Chemtech comp. Once this trait activates, champions gain 25% damage reduction, 50% attack speed, and regenerate 4% of their maximum health each second, upon dropping below 60% health. During this game, I also had the pleasure of hitting 9 Chemtech, which allows these buffs to be active not only for 15 seconds, but until the end of combat. This comp was looking absolutely amazing before Sean put me in the grave with this absolutely cringe augment that freezes the enemy board for 5 seconds of a fight, wherein I sadly accept yet another 8th place. Very sad.
It's actually really OP.
Wait, that looks so broken, what the fuck? Freeze for 5 seconds? Oh god, I got lost. Cringe. But I was not done with Chemtech yet. The very next game, I was back on that toxic team comp and forcing it again. Similarly, however, it was a rough start. By round 7-3, I was sitting on a measly 2 health. Not a good look. However, the silver lining was that I could not come 8th again, because my guy Bolo here somehow ate more shit than I was this game. However, that was about the only silver lining I would get, as a few rounds later I would join the ranks of the dead and eat a juicy 7th. Bro, he went your clockwork comp. Oh, absolutely cringe. Delicious. After this experience, I sporadically went to try out the Challenger trait. Champions with the Challenger trait have increased attack speed, where after killing a target, the champion will quickly dash to a new enemy, doubling the attack speed bonus for 2.5 seconds. The more challenges you have, the greater these buffs are. Despite this pivot in mindset, history was, unfortunately, determined to repeat itself. I once again found myself sitting dead last in the game at 4 HP at round 7-1 and was beginning to think that perhaps it wasn't so much that I was picking bad team comps, but rather I was just bad at the game. Anyhow, we obviously proceed to take yet another 8th place at record speed, and at this point the amount of dopamine being pumped out from my substantia nigra had all but dried up. I was admittedly a borderline brain-dead masochistic fiending for any random comp to pull me out of the nosedive in rank. I continued to experiment with the scrap trait, which when paired with the enchanter trait actually does alright. Once you beef up your Jinx and Trundle enough, they actually do substantial damage, and for a moment in the game, it feels good to play again. Now, pay close attention here, as this is where Jesus literally came into my game to give me a handmade miracle. There are 3 players on 2 HP, myself included, and we just also happened to lose this round, which means we're all at -4 HP. At this very frame, I am clearly the first one to die, and usually how it works is that if 2 or more people die on the same health, the one who dies first is placed lower on the rankings, as it should be. This should have happened to me, where out of the 3 people who lost, I died first and should have copped a 6th place. But mechanical Jesus saw my plight and took pity, somehow bumping me to 4th, meaning that I would actually gain a measly yet appreciated sum of elo back. My reaction speaks for itself. Yeah, bye indeed, holy shit, goodbye boys.
Ooh.
Oh, 4th! Everyone died at the same time. I got so wait, 3 people were -4, but I got the lucky roll and came 4th. Holy shit. Now, regrettably, the next few games in my match history I did not record, as really nothing of note happened, except for how I familiarized myself with how bad I am at this game. These learning experiences were hard to watch and highly cringe-inducing, thus I will not include them in this video. All you need to know is that I did not gain a single bit of elo for about 12 games straight, where if in accounting terms a win is a credit and a loss is a debit, you could say that my debits and credits balanced out. Nevertheless, we pick up at this game where I relapse into my Yordle mindset, ready for another helping of brain rot. This particular game highlights just how hard people love to force Yordles, as me and 2 of the Yordle players made it to the top 4. They versed me.
I think I'm 4th here actually. If the company guy loses.
Yeah.
Wait, I can't believe all you guys are going Yordles.
3 of the top 4 are Yordles.
That's busted. That's so stupid.
It's
It
so
shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Another thing you should know about me is that if someone is trying to copy me in something, I have an innate desire to do it better. Hence, when I saw these other filthy Yordle players, it made my blood boil, and I just had to show these peasants who truly was the Yordle king.
You want to activate your gargoyles.
Gargoyles, yeah,
You don't
true.
want them directly in the front line, but you want them to do like just not at the back.
Yeah.
This is just funny. It's so dumb that you both can go the exact same comp.
I
Basically,
mean, it happens to the other sets as well.
it's just atomization difference.
Do you actually lose from Vega now?
Now that he has bigger Vega, I hope I win. I don't want
Oh
to.
no, I think the Vex is unkillable.
I win.
Yeah.
My Vex is full health. Get bogged! I am the Yordle king! As you can hear, I was quite ecstatic about coming first, especially after being contested by 2 other players going the same comp. I was sorely misled to believe that this was once again the rise of the Yordle comp, as in the very next game I tried to force it again. Alas, much like how lightning does not strike the same spot twice, neither does my luck, as I faceplant to a cool 6th.
Wait, 6.
I'm dead, holy shit. I should at this point mention that during this day of grinding we had played 10 hours of TFT straight, so Sean had decided to take a break, but I was not done. So, a symbiotic relationship developed where Sean coached me in a few games where he got to enjoy some thrilling gameplay and where I had the pleasure of getting back some much needed elo. In our first partnership game, we ran a banger mutant comp. This game was quite enjoyable, so I'm actually going to cast a fair bit of it. We begin by rolling a 2-star Cassidon, a Cho'Gath, and a Kog'Maw, granting us the 3 mutant trait buff, which grants 1 of 7 random buffs each round to mutant units. These buffs are far too long to read, and this video has already gone on for quite a bit of time. So, a quick recap is that these buffs, much like many other buffs, include more damage, more tankiness, and a combination of both in some cases. On the second augment round, I immediately yoink the mutant emblem, because I want that juicy 5 mutant trait buff. We sadly lose the next round to this rat twitch, but fear not, because in the next roll of shops, the gods smile down upon us, and we ramp up our board with the 5 mutant traits as we slam find a Mundo. I almost give Sean a heart attack by slamming the wrong item.
And then we've won Shojin on Nals. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah, don't worry.
Put it on any unit, and then... Oh, fuck, heart attack. Okay. Let me get Seraphim.
It's alright. We then continue to narrowly take a win from Mr. 420 Dugong.
Yo, Malzahar's healing repetitive.
Wait.
Once. I don't think you win though because this Garen's.
Maybe. Come on. Oh no, never mind.
Oh fuck.
It's chopped my cock right off.
You're the last one. Complete the mission.
Ah, cringe.
Oh! We take it.
We find a Taric, which now brings us up to 5 mutant, 2 enchanter, 2 bruiser, and 1 socialite buff. I proceed to roll a Cho'Gath in my shop and thought it would be funny if we were to hit 3-star Cho'Gath, so I purchased them all. A decision that would in the near future pay big dividends. I proceed to get bodied yet again by another cringe Twitch player, placing me at a titillating 6 HP. If a Twitch did this much, what the? Oh well.
3-star.
Proceed to have another bout of miscommunication with Sean.
What the fuck is going on? Okay, we can swap Oriana and Nals. No.
Oh.
On your board. Jesus Christ. That made no sense. Come on, man. The fucking trigger in my voice. From the last time you sold everything.
PTSD.
Yeah, actual PTSD.
Then be put onto 2 HP by Narlac. And now, we're really cooking with fire. Yeah. My healing's also kind of... Oh, shit, what the fuck are they? Nice. Now we can rip into them. Go. Come on, Cho.
Hopefully. Oh, shit.
Nah, couldn't survive long enough. That's Surge. We then yoink our 7th Cho'Gath.
Oh my god. Good genre.
3 enchanters.
Oh my god, there's another Cho'Gath. Fuck.
Put a Yuumi in, cause why not? Hit our 8th Cho'Gath, and bada bing, bada boom, we hit the god-forsaken Chunky Chungus of a unit 3-star Cho'Gath with a Titans on him. That means once it's stacked, he will become the reincarnation of Godzilla himself. At this point, we're still on 2 HP, so this is an absolute godsend that we hit Cho'Gath 3-star. And lo and behold, we hit top 4 because of it.
I can't believe it just shat out your Cho'Gath.
Yeah, that was pretty lucky, I'm not gonna lie. And now we win because of it.
What the This game doesn't make sense. What?
Okay.
That Garen.
Yeah, that
It's
Garen's
fine.
kind of spicy.
Can we make
One of
top
these.
4?
Yeah, we're top 4. One of these has to die here. 6 damage round.
Oh my god, how did we make top 4?
We did it. Better yet, we tread on Narlac and push ourselves into the top 2.
Oh shit.
Oh?
If we can find a 2-star Kaiser, pretty sure we... Oh, the healing! Oh my god!
Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, if we find a 2 Kai'Sa, 2 Yuumi, I think it's pretty cheap.
Holy fuck, what is this?
However, I fall short of a victory and get destroyed by this guy's Yordle comp. Though, a second place finish was far beyond expectations already, and we take those. That gives us a nice plus 94, putting us closer to the first goal of hitting purple rank this season. This next game that we played, I actually think was the game that put me down the path of realization that Academy was a good trait to push for. We initially began with the Challenger trait in mind, but soon during mid-game, decided to split our resources going for both Challenger and Academy. This turns out wonderfully for us, as you may have noticed it is round 7-2, and I am, for once, not at 2 HP. At this stage, 7-2, we hit the fat 2-star Yone, with beastly items who also deals a 30% increased damage due to the Socialite trait. A true Chad of Chads. We proceed to find a 2-star Fiora and then hit the PogChamp Yuumis, which Sean was more than happy about.
No. Oh my god! What the fuck? Okay,
We sell our Camille for Kai'Sa, and now we're in a pretty good spot. But the best is yet to come. We then hit a Socialite emblem, giving us 2 Socialites, and perhaps the biggest upgrade yet is finding both 2-star Yuumi and Kai'Sa.
okay, put the Socialite on Yuumi. And the crit. Oh my god, we're
Wait, this is cringe.
This is so cringe.
The only thing I'm looking for now is just another Lux. Sadly, whilst we rolled pretty well this game, it was not enough to crack top 2, so we take a cool 3rd place and get ourselves over the 3k elo mark. At this point, I only need 400 more elo to hit my first coveted goal of purple rank, and then the overarching goal of trying to go for the hyper rank. Alas, future me will tell you that this goal is a long and arduous one. The grueling grind has only just begun, and my adventures of trying to learn the game will continue to take me to new heights and bottomless lows. Buckle in, kids, because if you thought that this was the end of the video, you are sorely mistaken. Because once I've set my mind on a goal, I will not stop no matter how much brain damage I incur on the way to said goal. The next 15 or so games was the second coming of the Dark Ages. To not beat around the bush, I'll let the clips explain themselves. So, as you can see, we went into yet another dip in the good old mental fortitude. Perhaps the only funny thing keeping me going was this interaction with people who I would say had an extreme case of lack of attention, perhaps even a new type of ADHD. You see, Hyper-roll is a for fun game mode, so it struck both Kev and I as extremely degenerate when yours truly, Fried Rice, began flaming someone in chat. Cringe. Why are they flaming in Hyper-roll?
Stay 2k.
They 2k. Oh my god.
Okay.
People clearly have nothing better to do. Guy's been dead like 6 rounds and still typing in chat. Oh, there he goes.
Everybody can shut the fuck up.
Hey, can you shut up? It's so cringe how they type.
Okay.
Just stop.
Well, should I talk to Telegram? I'll make a deal with you so we can make sure take all of Fried Rice's units.
Oh,
I'll make a deal with you, just take all his units, so shut the fuck up.
I can't believe these 2 degenerates are in our game again. Just stop.
Shut the fuck up. Stop talking, buddy.
He was going on about how he was top 50, which to the untrained ear sounds very impressive. But you must remember that at this point in time, during the first week of release, that to get into top 50, you only need 3.2k points, which fast forward to current day would barely get you into the top 100. Again, Some people in this fantastic game develop an unfortunate sense of importance, where in a direct inverse correlation with their brain size, feel the growing need to shit talk. Anyhow, I tank myself to around 2.7k points again, and now need a gargantuan 700 points to hit purple rank. I'll admit, I, at this stage, was very disillusioned with even being able to hit purple. Taking so many L's really put a dent in my morale, so I did the only thing I could think of that would help me. I rubbed my temples, went onto YouTube, and looked for guidance from the one and only God that could save me. The creme de la creme of miracles, the cherry on my sundae, the sun that dried my tomatoes. Of course, I am talking about Ziz.
Nobody cares about when you do that and there's like muscles there. Nobody cares about that.
I immediately crank on his playlist and I'm straight away put into a higher state of mind trance. I've now unlocked 100% of my brain power and have seen the flaws of my past and how to rectify them. A voice teaches me the forbidden jutsu to climb to purple, which I, without a second thought, followed. And now, I present you with the aftermath. And there I sat, 6 points away from purple rank. After a very long day of grinding, I knew what had to be done, but did I have it in me? Of course I did. I had goddamn Ziz over my shoulder watching over me, and thus I instantly re-queued to get my last 6 points. This is the game that ensued. So, I'll explain my strategy of getting into purple thus far. I always try to start by picking a sword because it is one of the more versatile starting items. For the early game, I roll any strong one-cost units I can, such as Darius, Camille, Cassidy, and I especially prioritize Graves and Garen, as they have the Academy trait, which is the trait that I'm forcing. But if I don't find any Academy, that's fine. I just try to stay alive until I do and mix and match units for the time being. As soon as I can, I buy a Katarina, as she is usually one of my main carries in the comp that I force. The items I try to get on her are Blue Buff, Crit Gaunt, and IE. Usually, by getting 4 Academy trait early, it really stabilizes your game for a few rounds so that you can roll to find other units. Academy by itself won't carry all the time, so to ensure more top 4 finishes, I usually try for 6 Academy and along the way pick up any enchanters or socialites to buff my units. This particular game was extremely stonks, as I made an Academy emblem and also received one from the shop, meaning that I could board 6 Academy units and use the 2 emblems to reach the max Academy trait buff without going over the unit cap. Most of the mid-game is then about trying to find good items and getting all your units to 2-star. This game was a little rough as I didn't find any item I really wanted to put onto Katarina, but the saving grace was that I could hit the 8 Academy along with 2 Assassin, Enchanter, and 1 Socialite. Towards the end of this game, everyone was extremely close in HP. As you can see, it was very tight, as usually not this many people survived to round 8-3. Speaking of, this is the very round that I die. Thankfully, however, I have enough health to cushion the death, and this places me snugly into 4th. And just like that, we hit purple, as I only needed 4th to give me any amount of points to reach that threshold. Extremely relieved of finally hitting my first goal of purple rank, I stared at the emblem for a while, as if I were God on a Sunday sitting back in my chair, marveling at my accomplishment. Once I regathered my thoughts, I knew what lay ahead. My journey was far from over, and the final peak of the mountain was just coming into sight. The grind to purple only put me at the base of the largest mountain yet, the top of which lay the hyper rank. But, for now, I sit content. And also, I realize the amount of footage I need to sift through to edit this video is a fair bit, to say the least. So, if you did manage to get to the end of this, feel free to leave a like, and thanks for the watch.